This is what we'll call the payment shifts script. The situation is the buyers say, hey, prices are too high right now. The objective is to move from the price to payment to introduce a creative financing option. So you'd say, I hear that a lot. That's agreement. I hear that a lot. And what's interesting is people aren't actually buying the price of a home, they're buying the monthly payment. So instead of focusing on how high the price is, let's get clear on what you want to invest per month. And once we know that, we could use rate buy downs, ARMs, and other financing tools to make sure your payment works for you. Now, most buyers don't realize how much flexibility that they have. The key is not finding a home, it's finding the right strategy to make that your home. So let's take a look at some real numbers and see what options you have right now.
Beautiful words.
Yeah. What makes it beautiful, Dan?
First off, again, you've got the agreement happening right there. We're using the word, what's interesting. So we're seeding doubt with the word interesting because people change their mind by what they think before what they do. And so thinking and feeling is both come before action. And so we're just inserting the word there. What's interesting as you think about it or as you consider it is that people aren't actually, and the word actually is creating a little wiggle room right there. They're not actually buying the price of a home, they're buying the monthly payment. And whereas we can't change the big number of the house, we can change the monthly payment. So we're going to attack that and we're going to say, so instead of focusing on how high the price is, let's get clear on what you want to invest per month. And once we know that, we can use rate buy downs, we can use adjustable rate mortgages, and we can use a lot of different financing tools to make sure that your payment works for you. Most buyers, not you, most buyers don't realize how much flexibility they have. The key is not just finding a home, it's finding the right strategy to make that home yours. And let's take a look at some real numbers and see what options you actually have right now.
Yeah, this word right here, interesting, it's a placeholder. And it also can contain a little bit of judgment too. So when somebody says, "Oh, that's interesting," like I'm not weighing in on either side, but I'm just like, "Oh, that's interesting." And when people say that to me, "Oh, that's interesting," I say, "What's interesting about it?" Like, because it provokes a curiosity. Well, that's interesting. I hear it a lot. And what's really interesting is that people aren't actually buying the price of a home. They're actually buying the monthly payment. And I love that what we're embedding again is the command buy,
Right.
buy. So, we're not saying get into buying because that's what we're really talking about. Let unpack that for a minute using some of the conceptual reframing and chunking down and restructuring the value. What does that look like?
Yeah, so when someone's looking at buying a house, they become fixated on the price of the house. And they believe they've been priced out of the market. And what they're doing is they're making decisions based on sticker shock rather than monthly affordability. So, and there's numbers in our minds, right? And in all markets, like some people have the number, oh man, houses just crossed the line of $1 million or $500,000 or $250,000. And if you track back to the history of home prices, like right now, there's the number of million seems like a lot to people. I remember when the number 250,000 seemed like a lot. And so what we're doing is we're reframing the idea of what a home means to buy. And there's the words Joe just highlighted. People aren't actually buying the price of a home, they're buying the monthly payment. And the reason we do that is because that shifts their entire framework from a big number that's really potentially intimidating to one that is at least more manageable.
Mhm.
Um, and we can know, you know what, I can swing $500, $5,000 a month. It makes it more attainable. And the NLP skill that we're using right there is number two. It's called chunking down. And whenever we want to take a big number and work with it, we would chunk down. So we would go from the big home number, which we don't even want to talk about or even speak about out loud, and bring it down to a monthly number. And
Mhm.
anything that we want to make seem more doable, we chunk down by giving the next step rather than all the steps.
Yeah, this is worth pegging to your memory. You know, how much is that house? Well, people aren't actually paying the price for the house. They're actually buying a monthly payment. What monthly payment would work for you? Let's strategically figure out a way that we can find a home that would fit that for you. Like that's the reframe to payment shift.
And if you look at number three right there, we're shifting from a fixed price, a permanent price, to a payment price, which can be manipulated through financing.
Right.
So anytime we can create movement options in decision making points by taking something that's fixed and moving it to something that's variable, it's going to make something more possible in their mind.
Yeah, well said.